Okay, let's go. I'm Joe Davis from Far Out Recordings. We're just going to talk about the Far Out Monster Disco Orchestra and about some of the players and some of the people involved in the project. We went to the studio basically and cut loads of tracks, maybe 5 at first, just to see how they'd come out with me, Daniel Mornick and David Brinkworth. Some of the tracks were done live. We'd done some processing of drums and stuff and done a couple of the tracks more programmed. And basically we've knocked out some instrumentals that would eventually become these tracks that are on the album. It was kind of a collective idea between the main producers of the label, which would have been Daniel Mornick, who's the son of Bluey of Incognito, David Brinkworth, who's Harmonic 313 and used to work a lot with Mark Pritchard, who works for Far Out anyway, and myself, and some of our best musician friends in Brazil, who would have been Jose RobertoBertrami, and he's sadly passed away, Arthur Verocai, and Alex Malheiros. I suppose we were all the main components of the record. We went to Brazil in 2 sessions and recorded all the bass tracks. Then we came back to England, and myself and Jose and Daniel Mornick and Dave, we all kind of started scanning out vocal ideas for the songs, and we actually recorded the vocal parts in this country.
Boa, marca aí. Gostei desse. Vou comprar essa máquina de você.
I've been sort of used to working in Brazil because I've worked and I know all the best studios and worked with all the best engineers out there. I had 2 of my best producers with me, Daniel Mornick, who's very much involved in this project, and David Brinkworth as well. We go there and record, and it's quite interesting. So we wanted to get a very authentic 70s and 80s feel. So we went to one of the best studios, which is, for me, is Studio dos Técnicos, and our engineer helping us is Mario Jorge, who's also a friend of all the musicians that participated on the album. We just went there and done like several sessions, and then in stages really, because we had this record that took a long time to make, 5 years. So the first recording was done for 5 days, then we had a break, then we done some editing in another studio, then we done some more recording, then the strings were recorded, and then the horns. So it was all kind of, all of that was done in Brazil. I think across the span of the record, we've tried to exemplify the different types of disco music that would have been made between 1975 and 1983, which were the main sort of disco era, which was the main years of the disco era. There's a couple of tracks that are much more soulful, reminiscent of the 1975, 76 sound, like Can You Feel It? And then there's the more up-tempo things, like from the 80s kind of sound, which would have been He's Alright, Don't You Know He's Alright? Jose RobertoBertrami's been like a major part of the label and been involved in many of the projects that we've had on Far Out. Aside from being a very close friend, it's like very, very sad, what actually happened to him, and he's passed away in 2012. And unfortunately never saw the release of this album, but I know he would have been very proud of the work, and I was always looking forward to the release. Monster Disco Orchestra is a project that will continue as well, because we've already cut several other tracks, several indeed featuring the last works of Jose RobertoBertrami, and you know, we're actually still continuing to record tracks, and you know, perhaps in the future we'll be sort of experimenting with other singers and writers as well, lyricists. But yeah, it's a project that is definitely going to be ongoing and be a kind of part of a series.